Hello everybody and welcome to the table. So if you're watching this video, you have searched for the Camp Snap camera. And I'm making this video just because I haven't seen a lot of information on this camera since it was released. Even the website where you buy it, there's not a whole lot of information there. So we'll do just a quick overview of this camera, how it works, and I'll show you some sample pictures that I've taken of this camera. So essentially you have an idea of what this is about. This is a cheap digital camera. You send it off with your kids to summer camp and they're not distracted by screens or settings. It's a simple point and shoot camera experience. So what we have right here is a very lightweight small camera. It almost looks like a disposable camera and it weighs about as much. So in terms of weight, let's pull out the scale here. It feels very light in hand, plastic construction. So we are coming in at about 3.2 ounces. So yeah, very lightweight camera here. And in terms of material, again, plastic construction. You can kind of hear that there. And the front has kind of this like a slightly rubbery textured material where the yellow is. So it feels kind of nice in hand. But that's kind of a nice little feature there, and it has that color look. So it's meant to look also very reminiscent of an old school camera. But of course the back right here, there is no screen. In fact, all we have is a digital counter that shows you how many photos are on the camera currently. So the only buttons you can really mess with, we have a flash right here, so you can turn it to on, off, or auto. So right now in the center it's set to off, and the flash itself is an LED right here, which we'll check out in just a second. But the only other button we have on here is the shutter button. So if you just tap it, you'll see that little light blinks, nothing happens. In order to turn the camera on, you have to hold down the button until it beeps. Just like that. So the camera is now on. And we can take a look at the screen. I know it's hard for the camera to pick it up, but we can see the number of photos on the camera currently. So we're at 92 pictures on the card inside the camera, and that's just what I've done since I've taken it out of the package. There is a little speaker right here, so you'll notice when you take a photo, there is a shutter sound every single time you do that. That cannot be changed or turned off. It is just the way it works. So the shutter sound is there. So you always know there's a picture being taken. So you're not going to be sneaking any photos with this thing because it's fairly loud for a camera of this size. The shutter, and of course the number has gone up a couple of times as I've taken photos. You can see it goes up. And we can see the flash right here, like I was saying. It's an LED flash. So let's just take a picture with it. And you can get an idea. You hear the shutter, and then that LED just shines for a few seconds to provide some extra light to the scene. I've left it off on auto. In dark rooms it will automatically turn on, but if you're using this outdoors you generally don't need that flash, but it is nice to have it as a function here, as an option, in what is otherwise a camera with absolutely no options whatsoever. I do like that the shutter button does turn green, so you know the camera is on and ready to work. There's a little area right here for your thumb, a little notch for your thumb, and that's really where we get to some of the issues with the camera. Not really major issues, some things that I would put on the wish list for next time they do a run of these things. You'll notice for a camera that you're going to give to a kid, have them carry it around, there's no way for them to really hold on to it. Like there's no provision for a lanyard. So it would be nice if you had some way to connect a little lanyard, something kind of in the vein of like this right here, where you can hook it on and then have it on your wrist or something. Or if you're giving it to a kid for summer camp, maybe they could hang it around their neck. But there's absolutely no way to carry this other than just holding it in your hands. And with the slippery plastic, you might end up dropping it. So it'd be nice to have some kind of provision for a lanyard on here. And you'll notice on the bottom there's no provision for a tripod screw either. I know this isn't really the type of camera you would put up on a tripod. I mean, you're not going to win any photography awards for this camera, but it is what it is. So that's really my only complaint with the camera body itself. Down here at the bottom though, we do have a USB-C recharge port. And that's also where you're going to plug in the cord to get the pictures off the camera. So you'll plug that into your PC and it will pop up just like an external drive and you can browse and see your photos. The actual SD card slot, you'll see it takes a Phillips head to get in there. And I get why they did that, because again, if your kid's at camp, you don't want them to lose this door and lose the card itself. So when you unscrew the door, it just pops right off and you can see the SD card is in here. So what it comes with is a 4 gigabyte off-brand, just says T-Flash on there, if you see that. So 4 GB card, and each photo takes up about 2 MB of space. So they're not super duper high quality photos. So I imagine you're going to get many hundreds of pictures on this camera before that 4 GB card fills up. So that's just, you know, the quality of the photos. And so let's just screw this back on real quick. There we go. All right, so otherwise, nice and smooth surface here. And again, this is not a camera that it's going to replace your phone. It is very purpose-built to be given to kids to take with them to summer camp. If you just carry this around and use it to snap photos, you might be maybe a little disappointed with the quality. I mean, I'm no photographer, but I'll put up some sample photos that I've taken, and photos can be pretty rough. Now, this is a fixed focus camera, so there is no autofocus. Basically, in the instructions, it says from 3 feet onward, things should be in focus, but in my short experience with the camera, I think that focus goes out a little bit further than 3 feet. I would say it's almost set to like an infinity focus. So like if you take pictures of like a distant mountain, they're going to look nice and clear, at least in terms of the quality of this camera. But if I take a picture of a subject, you know, 5-6 feet away, it's kind of soft. The photos come out pretty soft. So I will say that in my experience taking pictures here. It's also very prone to the pictures getting blown out by sunlight. So I was taking pictures in full sunlight, and everything was just super overexposed. Very, very difficult to get good photos that way. So indoors in a bright lit room, fine. Outdoors in shady areas or at the time of day when the sun isn't blazing on you, sure. Bright sunlight conditions, you're going to get blown out pictures every time. And again, like I'm saying, I'm no photographer, so take that with a grain of salt. The box it came in, pretty nice. It does come with a USB-C to C cable, so if you don't have one already, you can use the one they provide. No charging brick or anything, but it does come with a little manual right here, a one-pager, and just tells you the basics you need to get started. So very nice that they included that, but the camera itself is very simplistic. You can figure it out on your own, usually with no issue, I would think. And it's just, again, there's no settings, nothing to change. It's literally you turn it on and you start snapping pictures. That's as simple as it can get. Simple, perfect for giving kids a cheapy camera. And considering the cost of disposable cameras, developing film, this is a very good budget alternative. They currently go for about $45 on the Camp Snap website. This was from the mid-July shipment that was just delivered, and I think they just have them in stock at this point. So if you want a really inexpensive camera to give to a child, or just something that you want to carry with you for inexpensive photos, I think this might be something you might be interested in. Again, don't expect it to replace your camera. Basically, they took the guts of a 20-year-old digital camera, put it in this lightweight device, and this is what we have, the Camp Snap camera. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask, but I just wanted to give a little bit of information about this camera because there's so little out there that I've actually seen hands-on here. And so I apologize again, my photo samples are really not the best. I imagine someone with more experience would get better pictures, but that actually is kind of realistic because if you hand this to a kid, you're not going to expect the greatest photos to begin with. And so when you're looking through the hundreds of photos they hand this back to you, don't expect, you know, DSLR-like performance. It's a very basic point and shoot, but in the right conditions, capturing those memories can be worth it. So again, any questions, leave them below. Hope you enjoyed watching. See you later. Bye.